actual programmer. But I like make.com for now, just because it's simple. So let me just see if I can pull something up. But I think if you started that way, let's say you write down your task for the day. I have to do outreach. I have to give my client updates. I got to reply to some emails. I have social media posts. I have YouTube. I have content to make. Even on the fulfillment part, the client onboarding process. I have clients to onboard. I have meetings to do. What else do people do? Obviously, you have to build products. Let's say for me, for example, there's a lot of building we have to do. Like I take on a client, I have to. There's a lot, and even a lot of that can be automated as well, surprisingly. But
Hmm.
let's say you're doing coaching consulting. I don't know what most people do here, but that's like the back end. So even a lot of that can be automated, standardized, and done through a software like make.com, for example. So if you start the day, because typically when we start the day, we just go to whatever,
Hmm.
um, whatever the platform is. You go to Twitter, you write your tweet, you post, or whatever platform it is, or outreach. I don't know if people have already automated outreach, and there's levels to which you can use. All right, there's many levels to which you can personalize and you can literally have an end-to-end workflow where it's like you're finding like one thing that I'm doing now, by the way, for my offer, like one automation I'm working on right now today, is like an end-to-end, um, and it's kind of almost done, but like an end-to-end um, outreach system. So basically, what it will do, so I'm targeting, so we're doing voice AI, so we're targeting people that are doing sales calls, right? So not the actual sales call, but more the appointment setting call and the call confirmation. So my target is people that have sales teams.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
and one thing we're doing, I'm using search intent. So I'm looking for people that are actively hiring for salespeople. And so that's step one. So I have an API for that that's out here going to job boards, pulling in the data, formatting the data, and then we're putting that into a spreadsheet. So that's kind of step one. This is all make.com. That's step one into a spreadsheet. And now we're gonna essentially enrich that data. So now we're gonna use APIs like Perplexity API, which is gonna take the name, email, company name, search on Google, find out all the information about the CEO specifically, by the way, I should mention. So let's say that the guy's name is Mark
Okay, so
Zuckerberg.
Lafi, real quick, would you, and I can turn off the recording if you want, but would you feel comfortable like actually walking through like this flow so we could visually see and understand while you're talking too? I think it would be helpful. If not, that's okay
Um,
too.
yeah, yeah, like I can show some stuff.
It doesn't
Um,
need to be perfectly built out. The whole point is we're all kind of stimulating our brains on what can
yeah,
we.
yeah, yeah. Let me show some because obviously this is what I'm good. I've just kind of planned it out the past day or two. Now I'm probably gonna be building it tomorrow because like night it's almost midnight here. So I'm gonna build it out the whole thing tomorrow, but I can share my screen. Um let's see. And the thing is, I'm not even like a make.com expert, by the way. I'm very I'm just like forcing myself to use it and learn it. But we are using this on the back end as well for the clients to set up the voice agents and make them dynamic. And it's so for example, let's say a lead comes in, it'll pull in, it can pull in, let's say if it's on a call in the past, it'll get the transcript. So there's a lot of stuff on that side. But in terms of here, so obviously the first step is typically so let's say in my case, I'm going to use API file, right? So this is what's gonna basically
What APIify, does that make it easy to use like APIs even if you don't know anything about coding?
um yeah, yeah, it does make it easier. But I don't know if you know, I wouldn't say if you know nothing, it's still doable. It's still no code technically. Because you're this is all no code. But you still gotta understand like the logic of things, right? Like it's because
Right.
there is on and stuff like that, depending on what you're doing. But essentially here, because so now obviously I've made a list of um so let's say in my case, I'm going to be doing job scraping boards. So there's all these different boards. And one thing I'm also looking on the sides was is because there are so many
Whoa.
job boards. I've been looking for like a unified API that kind of finds them all. So obviously because otherwise we got to set
Right.
up like 40 different APIs for every single job board, and connecting to,
Wow.
which is going to be a lot of work, right? So I've been looking for an easier solution. But this one's not bad because you can get a lot of leads just from one job board. Like it's gonna, Indeed, it's gonna have thousands and thousands of job postings. So it's
Wow.
not as though we need every single one. But there is this tool I have been using this, by the way, for some of the outreach we're doing. Like actually, I'm using this, which is essentially what it does is it turns websites into LLM ready data. So essentially, so there's actually two tools here. So one of them is it will like scrape websites and give it to you in like a nice format. Like let's say you got a lead, they have a website. And by the way, we even can use this on the back end too, which is to make the voice agents. We will scrape the client's website and make it a part of the not knowledge base for the voice agent, connected to like a vector database, right? Um, so that's and obviously it'll be part of the prompt as well. But this is a new tool which is very, very good, and it's open source. You can host it yourself. It scrapes the website, so you can get that. And then the second step is what I did was I would summarize it using like just on any other AI API, DeepSeek, Llama, whatever. Like you can summarize it into a summary because obviously if you scrape a website, you have like a whole massive block of text, and then you want to summarize that to key points that the next AI can use to write an email. You know what I mean? So step one, scrape it, get all the information. Step two, summarize the information into the key points. And maybe you can even do like an ICP check. You can say, also check if they're my ICP. Are they a B2B SaaS company that does demo calls? And then the third point would be put an AI to write an email based off that summary, like Cloud. So I posted yesterday, like, I like, in fact, it's probably one of the ads I use the most is Cloud. DeepSeek is very good as well, but um, they're both good at what they do. I find they work good together. So one tool, if you like both, one tool is called Deep Cloud, and you can kind of combine them. So you get the reasoning from Deep Cloud, but then you get the creativity from Cloud. Sorry, DeepSeek reasoning, Cloud creativity, and
Wow.
and it's very, very good. I've kind of been doing this myself. I would just use DeepSeek on its own and then use Cloud to implement the plan. So DeepSeek make a plan, Cloud implement the plan. That's the combination I find works perfectly. But so this fire crawl is scraping will scrape the website. And by the way, you can connect all this in here as well. So obviously you just make an API call here. And then you do have to like format the data. So obviously you gotta format the data and put it into an Excel.
Okay.
The second tool they have, which is very, very interesting, and I think they just integrate DeepSeek into and other kind of tools, is Extract. So what this does, this one will literally um, go into Google and find the data, find the leads for you, specific like live leads. So you just put in a prompt like build a B2B list from this, or basically you just tell it to go to Google and it will do it for you with one prompt, which is very, very impressive. So
Wow. I just want to pause here for a moment because there's a lot that you're dropping here, and some of it might be a lot for some people. And I think there's also some ideas being stimulated. So I want to just create a moment for people to kind of ask some questions, create some clarity here.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, Simon.
So can this thing go onto Facebook and like crawl Facebook pages?
oh yeah, so one big one I've done, by the way, is because I also like to target people that are running ads, because specifically even with AI agents we can only legally run them towards inbound leads, right? So I'm always targeting Facebook ads, and I've got something else even more advanced which I can maybe talk about if there's time. But are you talking about scraping the ads library or the Facebook
No,
pages?
I'm saying could I send a bot or send a bot or API to go to Facebook pages or groups in my local area and say like neighborhood so like I do roofing and construction. So could I send it to neighborhood pages and say anyone who's posting a post about they're having an issue with their roof, it gets me their name and number or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So
What?
so essentially just a Facebook outreach, an automated Facebook outreach system.
Yeah, or just collecting, or if it just gives me a list of names and like the post they made with their phone number would be incredible. Or
Yeah,
outreach.
I'm actually setting up a system like that as we speak. I can send you the full document after this video. It's like that. Just explaining that would probably take like an hour, but just to summarize, at least an hour. But just to summarize, um, to do, and obviously, I'm guessing you do want to do a decent amount of outreach, right? Like you want to get a lot of clients, a lot of. So the way it works is you're gonna want to have multiple Facebook profiles, right? So we're assuming, I'm guessing you obviously you're using your own, but you want to do more,
Yeah.
right? So you're gonna want to set up multiple Facebook profiles, which you're gonna want to buy. I've got links for that. So you got to buy it. You got to buy the IP, local resident IP, for each one. But all this is pretty cheap. We're talking couple dollars for each, and then you got to use a software to essentially have a browser for each profile.
Why do you have to have multiple profiles? For like different for each page or like each Facebook
Oh no,
like
so you can just scale the outreach. Like you can start with one and do like 50 DMs a day.
oh, but you'll need
Yeah.
multiple profiles because Facebook will be like, dude, you're sending out thousands. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, I
Got it.
mean, you
Yep.
can do like 100 maybe, but there is a limit. You can't do like
I mean,
thousands.
even 100. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, so multiple profiles, that makes sense if I'm really trying to scale it like that. Um, okay, I don't want to hog up everyone's time. So what I would like to know is there an article, YouTube channel, like where can I go to because what you're saying, like if I wanted to figure this out, like this is, where could I go to really understand how I could do this?
I can send if you send me a message, I'll send you the whole guide. Like I've got the whole guide ready. Like I said,
Oh,
I'm also setting something up as we speak. And it's got everything like where to buy the accounts, the IP address, the browser software, and it's all like just and then obviously in each browser you gotta put in there's a Chrome plugin that will do the outreach for you, automated. So it will literally go to each lead. Um, Now, the other way to do it would be you would just put in you would put in the roofing groups ahead of time into
yeah.
and then it will just go through there, and it will. There's different ways to do it. Once again, it depends on your requirements. Like, do you want people posting for jobs or this, like whatever the.
So like people in their neighborhood group be like, "Hey, I have a leak. Does anyone know a good roofer?" Like I would love to be able to find out, that's
Yeah,
Just
and
notified instantly. That'd be cool.
yeah,
yeah. It would just reach out. So you'd have the bot. The account would just reach out to every person.
that would be insane. That would be insane. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would,
So Lafi, I know for me, like I look at this stuff and I see you building it, and I've also like I've built a couple of little, like I built a little tool that anytime we get a review in one of the companies I work with, it'll write a Facebook post and automatically loads it, and then it sends an email and a text to me to verify that the post isn't like trash, and it can be edited, and I have another team member who handles that as well. What are your thoughts on like people learning this themselves versus where can we find people to build this stuff for us? Where we're like, hey, we know what we want, can you just build it for us so we don't have to spend, whatever the amount of time is like executing all this. Thoughts or comments on that?
You mean like building the whole automations and all that stuff?
Yeah, like within Make, like I started interviewing some people on Upwork, and actually it was like fairly reasonable pricing to just have like, a Make engineer build it out versus building it out myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So far I've only really built these myself, so I haven't hired anyone yet. But I totally understand. There's going to be generally people get into the space that just they don't want to deal with any kind of tech, even though it's no code. They don't want to
Yeah.
deal with. So obviously, Upwork is the place. I would look for in Facebook groups. I would look in Discord. Discord is a good place. Um, yeah, I would look through. Look, you're already looking through Upwork and those kind of places. So yeah, if you don't want to get involved in this stuff, then you can easily just make a post. Just you got to be exact with what you want. There's also like Fiverr and different kinds of website, depending on how complex your automation is. But also, I would also think about so there's building it, which is great. So they can come, but probably build it. Obviously, you kind of have to if they build it correctly. So you should have some knowledge, ideally.
All right.
Otherwise, also you got to think about the maintenance as well, because let's say they build it and they're like, all right, Kyle, here's your automation. It's done. It's running. Chances are, like in a couple of days, some errors are going to come up. So,
All right.
are
Just
you
like Zapier. Yeah.
yeah, are you gonna fix that, or are they gonna you're gonna pay them again to come and check it out?
Well,
Which
so you mentioned Fiverr and Facebook groups. Do you or Discord and Facebook groups? Do you have any Discord channels or Facebook group links that have been valuable specifically in this area that you could drop in the chat, like share with us, that would be valuable for the team here, us collectively, the team of AI
yeah,
learners?
honestly, I don't have one right now, just because like I said, I haven't looked for any
Okay.
yet. But I know if I were to hire someone, I would go through those channels because it's it's pretty straightforward. If you write your post out, they're going to be there. Honestly, just Facebook groups alone, if you search like make.com groups and any N8N automations and things like that, and you just make a post, you'll definitely hire people. Like I've hired a lot of people through Facebook groups, high level experts, and speaking of which, also automation experts as well, just through Facebook groups. Like I don't like once again, I don't know what stack you're using, but like for a high level, because we hired some automation experts for that for my clients. This was for my advertising clients. So Facebook, just make your job post and just post in a bunch of groups that are to do with automations, marketing, and tech, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of applications. And I typically do through Airtable. You can do however you want. Google Forms is free. Um, Airtable's free as well, so it's really up to you how you want to just have like a systemized process, I would say. So I did make like a proper, like a very systemized through Airtable where you just kind of come in and depending on how complex the role was, I would even make them record a Loom video, just to show they're a real person and they can actually do stuff before hopping on a call. So yeah, Airtable is good. Otherwise, Google Forms to a spreadsheet is good, and you can kind of rank the people.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a lot of questions on your form. Like make sure you have a good number of qualifying questions and ask for show your past examples of what you've built. Like, can you show? And honestly, if you get people, because I've had a lot of media buyers too. I think I got like 500 applications at one point. This was a long time ago. And you'd be surprised how many people would just tell you like I can't show you anything because of whatever reason. And it's just a bit of a red flag. I wouldn't really hire anyone that tells you every product they've done was NDA and they can't show you anything. It's just avoid that. Because you could just make a public thing, right? Like you could make something just for open source or just yeah.
Cool. Well, as an action item for me, I just went, I'm going to share here just to show others. I just went to Facebook and I just typed in make automations because make is the tool that you're using here. And I just requested, access to like the top 5 groups that popped up. There's like thousands and thousands of members in each of those groups. So I love that suggestion on being able to post inside of those groups, and hopefully there's some things that come up that are interesting. I think for me, like some automations that I'm interested in is related to, mass social media. Like I like the idea of being able to automate across like many different platforms where there's one piece of content and then it's like distributed and customized for each of the different platforms. And I know how to build it, but I don't want to like go into make and do it. So I think I'm ready to hire someone. I'd love for each person just with the last like 6 minutes here to share like what's one thing in your business or personal life that you could use a tool like Make to automate a repetitive task, and or a question that you have for lot fee. So I already went. Simon, I think you went. Damon, Arthur, and Eli, if you guys want to pitch in, that'd be great.
I think Damon had a question in the chat that he was asking.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on then. So question for you. Basically, one of our priorities, more so on the sales side, is we just want to have like a tight feedback loop on all our data. We're tracking everything you can think of, close rates, show rates, all this shit. And we want to have like thresholds for everything. So let's say someone hits a certain threshold on their close rate, it drops below our KPI or something, we get a notification like ASAP instead of waiting until the end of the month to see it. Is there, using this, is there a way to like build that out?
I mean, where are you tracking all the sales metrics right now?
Just spreadsheets.
Oh yeah, I mean, that'd be very, very straightforward, right? Like, because you would just essentially connect your sheets into it. Yeah, and then but obviously you're gonna want to have some kind of formula inside your sheet inside your Google Sheets that calculates if the score is if the closing rate has gone below a certain amount. So you want to put in like a formula in there.
Yep.
So I'm not sure. I mean, what do you?
I think it's the output log tree. It's once that threshold triggers, then it maybe Zapier would send like a text or email to the group. Or I don't
Yeah,
think you like
yeah,
Zapier. Yeah.
yeah. So once that hits, yeah, it would be the same thing because then here it would kind of you still have to make the automation to watch for that threshold to go at a certain point for it to trigger. So then it would trigger, and then you can just say, yeah. So once that's triggered, then you want to send it to Slack or whatever you use, and just you can put in a custom message, right? You can use the data from before, the person's name. This is the threshold. Alert is urgent. So, and then you would just get a Slack message for that.
Or
Is
even
that
Slack
kind of
message Slack
pardon?
message the direct user and be like, "Hey, bro, your closing rate's starting to be foul. You
Yeah.
suck."
Well, that's savage. So
Is that kind of what you meant?
yeah, we have all the data. It's like we have the formulas in there. It's just like, running like 4 different companies. We're tracking like 30 different KPIs and stuff. And it's just kind of like a lot to stay on top of. But yeah, if we could get like a Slack message or just like have it text us or something when it drops below KPI, that'd be sick.
Yeah. I mean that's like definitely one of the most straightforward ones you can make. It would literally be yeah. It would have to watch the rows for a specific for that metric to hit, and then send a notification with the information of the of of who it is and what it's about, and then obviously you probably want to send it to yourself or whichever channel you want to send it to.
Gotcha. Okay.
That that reminds me of like Twilio, except like a more user-friendly Twilio. Is that right, Malti? Are you saying your name?
Um, Twilio,
Yeah, have you heard of Twilio? It's kind of like
yeah, I use Twilio. Yeah, we use Twilio.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it seems like this Appify, this integration, or whatever this is, this
you mean
it's
you mean like Twilio, like the number provider?
Twilio, this the company that you're looking at, right, that you pulled up. Yeah, Twilio allows different companies, different APIs to connect and creates like triggers and outputs. It just seems like that. I didn't know it was just phone numbers. I thought it was like multiple. Um, I guess
Yeah,
it is like messaging and phone numbers and email.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
this is just basically just numbers, because we buy our phone numbers from here for the agents, but
oh, okay.
yeah, we use Twilio for the numbers.
I
Um,
guess it's more like Zapier than
Probably Zappy. Yeah, I guess you
yeah.
could use once again something as simple as what Damon said. I mean, you could do in Zapier, but if you really want to go down the AI workflows, you kind of
Right.
want to switch to make.com, and then
Yeah.
um, yeah, and you can kind of stick because the only reason because there's also NA10 because the reason people use that is because they have the AI agents. But I saw make.com did an interview recently. They said they're going to be releasing AI agents as well. So if that's the case, you can probably stick to make.com until your usage bill gets so high that it makes sense to switch to NA10, which is actually a lot cheaper, but can sometimes be more complex to set up. So this is one of the best ones if you really want to take it serious. Obviously, if you just want to send notifications and that's your only use case, then obviously you can use Zapier. But I think we all want to do a bit more than that.
I think my use case, I have two use cases. One is I have like a huge spreadsheet and of names and phone numbers that this guy is, I don't know who this guy is, but he's skip tracing, finding people's, we have their name and address, home address, and then somehow we skip trace and get all their phone numbers, right, on this big spreadsheet. And I'm manually going in there and dialing each number, and it's taking up a lot of time, effort. Like half the numbers are disconnected because they're landlines, landline phone numbers. So I'm wondering, I suppose this can like do the phone calls for me and then just find out if someone's going to pick up at least. And then once it highlights those numbers that are live and viable, then I can go back and call them manually. So I don't have to
Um,
waste my time just dialing through.
I would, yeah, I mean, there's even phone verification APIs. You can just verify it first.
Uh-huh.
I would do that. I wouldn't call to find out if they pick up. I would just verify we're actually, because this is basically everything we do is calling leads off spreadsheets and Airtable. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would definitely. But because we get inbound, we're not. Yeah, but I would just verify it. And actually have an API that we want to connect. Actually, I can pull it up.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, let me just pull it up real quick.
And then do you use anything to do skip tracing or sourcing numbers or cold calls?
Did I say we can do cold calls or?
Or I don't know, do you do cold calls? Because how do if that's how we do a lot of our business. We do a lot of cold calls and we pull up phone numbers. So do you have any tools that would pull the and name and email and put it into a spreadsheet
Um,
to
so
automate that?
yeah, well, so cold calls is a gray area because it's not tech because that's why we only do inbound,
Uh,
because that's like legal. Cold
uh-huh.
calls is, by the way, the way we're getting around that is, which is also a bit of a grayish area, but we're not focused on cold calls anyway. We're not doing any outbound calls. Has to
Oh
be
yeah.
because even outreach we are doing. So one new use case we're kind of looking at is, let's say you do outreach and then someone responds. You can say to them, "Hey, can I give you a quick call or give me a quick call?" But then at least you
Yeah.
have consent. So at least, but they do have to respond and say yes. But I would just at least put this in. Just what any API to verify the number, and they're not too bad. I mean, this one has you can basically verify 100 numbers, and then this one you get like 5,000. That's monthly, yeah,
Yeah.
monthly $15. That's the bargain. Um,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah, so
Can
you would
you
just connect
can you
that in
use
here.
that with make.com?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you can connect any API.
Wow.
I
If
got
you see
we got
API, yeah,
hmm Yeah, go ahead.
then
Keep going.
yeah, like the whole idea is if we see the API, it means it'll connect. So Firecrawl, um, yeah. So in your case, just get one of these.
Yeah. We got we got 20,000 numbers to go through.
Yeah, and also, so in that case, you might want to use multiple, uh, because if you look at a tool like Clay.com, what they have is called a waterfall enrichment. So that's kind of what you need. If you have 20,000 numbers, I highly doubt any one number verification is gonna be able to do all of them. They might do like a bunch, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, that's all we can do," and you'll just pay for what you get, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way we want waterfall verification, which is essentially, let's say this one only gets the first 4,000. The next 16, you kind of pass it on to the next API and say, "You check these that they couldn't
Yeah.
get, they get 6." You
So what's
pass
the
10 to the
waterfall,
next one.
Clay?
Yeah, I mean, they do this with emails. So they do waterfall with emails. So they'll have like 10 providers and they'll kind of,
Go through all of them?
pass them all through.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, so if you have a mass amount like 20,000 numbers, you're going to want to connect multiple ones. And ideally, they're pay per use. but $15.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah,
don't
it's
use
$15
Clear.
worth.
Yeah.
I could do one per month, $15 per month and go and get through 20,000
Well, this one will
per
give
month.
you five. You'll only get 5,000 at $15 though.
Yep.
So,
Cool. Thank you. Very helpful.
but definitely set up the waterfall enrichment. If you